Back to this morning on TVC, where our guest is the special advisor to the Kano State Governor on national and international as well as public relations, talking about Honorable Muhammad Jamo Yusuf OON. We're talking about the education challenge in Kano State. It's really a challenge of the North generally, but then being the most populous state in the North, Kano has its fair share of worry, and we've been hearing of plans and intentions of the government. We just spoke, just before going on that break, we spoke about the fact that in the North generally there's a specialized education, Quranic and religious education, and the special advisor has given us to understand that even having made allowances for that, there still is an unacceptably high number of students that are out of school. Okay, so continuing from there, you just gave the impression of the seriousness of purpose, but it also has to be admitted that this is a long-standing problem. Now, I wonder, you're going to want the buy-in. You're going to want the buy-in of all, and the parents are probably going to be key in this. We've heard of some other areas, some jurisdictions where the parents themselves are conscripted into the effort and under, threat of sanction if they do not see to it that their children are in school. In other words, yes, the parents are the parents and the kids are the kids, but if you sort of give any succor or allow for youths to, not comply with this noble effort to put them in school, the parents would know that they have some measure of responsibility as well. Is Kano able to go that far in the drive to putting kids to school? Because if you put that on the ground, I expect the next level would be, so, okay, we'll send them to school, but where are these schools? So there's this challenge in there.
Yeah, I agree with you. But let me tell you one beautiful thing that I have noticed over the years now. Well, in the past, we have this challenge across the North whereby you see some parents finding it awkward, not even in the North, I think all across the country or everywhere around the world, there are instances and places where it has happened, where you see parents not too comfortable with allowing their kids to go to school. Maybe they prefer, if they are peasant farmers, for those kids to go to the farm, or maybe if they are palm wine tappers or whatever, let them go and do it. But the scenario and everything has changed. The world has evolved now and things have changed. People have seen over the years how the kids of nobody have suddenly become somebody now in the society. And the only barrier of any young man who is a nobody becoming somebody is that lack of education. So a lot of parents have seen the light in that perspective. And I'm telling you now, you don't even need to go the way of putting laws or coercion or any other means to get parents to allow their kids to go to school. Parents are eager and interested to have them in school.
So most are on board. Okay, let me bring in Reverend Dominic, who has called in. Good morning to you, Reverend Dominic.
Good morning, Chief Yori. Good morning to your guest.
Yes. Go ahead, please.
Yori, I said this because education is a challenge throughout Nigeria. And number two, Yori, I have listened to your guest carefully. We have not referred to the government that just left a few months ago on what they did. We know in our nation here, the bane of governance here is incontinuity. Is it telling the whole world, I'm not in Kano, I'm in Lagos, that the government that has been there for 8 years did nothing for infrastructure, for education, and they did nothing. We have been listening to him referring to 2011, not 2015, not 2016, not 2017. As long as every time we change government, Chief Yori, the last government that was there did nothing, and the new government starts afresh, there will be no progress. I understand the emotion of the man speaking. Whether it's in Imo, whether it's in Lagos, whether it's in Kano, what makes Lagos today wonderful is that after one government, build a thing, maybe to want a particular level of foundation, and not going to take it from there. That's the only way how you make progress. Are you trying to say for 8 years of government, of the last government, I'm not part of it, that all the budgets in education was nothing, that the money was spent in 2011? All I'm concerned is about continuity. Whether this man is right or wrong, there must be continuity in governance for which to make progress. But the money is not a personal money. The money is Kano State money. Is it telling everybody that the last 8 years government did nothing for education? Is it what we're trying to say? And if it's yes, it's unfortunately, but I don't believe so. Good morning, Chibiani.
Well, thank you very much, Reverend Dominic. Honorable Jamal Yusuf, a sort of a bit of an angry Reverend Dominic, because there's a set of viewers who call him frequently, who are, you can call them educationists. They're very passionate when it comes to education. Now, he was speaking about the baton, relay aspect of governance. And I guess what he's wondering is, why is it that there isn't something perhaps to continue with, because government, we know, it's now become a cliche, is a continuum. So if everybody keeps on chipping in, how come the problem is not diminishing? Is the frustrating question. Maybe you've given part of the answer, but it's a frustrating question. You've given part of the answer.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I can say something about it, Reverend Dominic. The society becomes better when we have people like you who can be able to call in and maybe try to draw our attention to one thing or the other that we do not say. So I'm so proud of your question and what you try to draw my attention to. Well, Reverend Dominic and other people who share the same opinion with Reverend Dominic, when I started, I said this government is an offshoot of a government that ended in 2015, that started in 11 and ended in 15. So that was why I decided to concentrate most about what I was saying to that particular time. But if we are to talk about infrastructure and things that happened with the administration that we took over from, then I will tell you, I don't want to dabble into that, because if we are talking about education and what the state government is doing, when I have to come and start talking about what that government has done and what the government do not do, it will divert the topic that we are talking about. But let me just mention one or two things that the last government did. Let me talk about one. We had a university, the Kano State University of Science and Technology, which had one of its campuses in the center of Kano, in a place which was called Daula. So let me tell you, that state government at that particular time, they drove all the students from that place, they drove them away, and they gave the land and all the building to some people who were interested to develop a shopping mall. So a whole university was demolished and a shopping mall was established there. That is part of what the government did in its 8 years. And I can tell you, the Kano State College of Education, the Kano State Polytechnic is another instance whereby within the walls, the four walls of that Kano State Polytechnic, the Kano State government decided, or the Kano State government of that time, decided to give out lands to people to come and develop houses in that particular area, whereby students now, if they want to go to their classes, they want to go to the tech labs, they want to go to any other places, they have to be passing through houses of people, which is not conducive for education. If I want to tell you more, I can tell you that government is a government whereby basically almost all the primary schools that are living in Kano, the walls of those primary schools were given to private developers to develop shopping malls around those primary schools. And when we move around to take the stock, what do? These shops were provided at the walls of those primary schools, and the funds the state government gets, they do not use them to improve the infrastructure of those schools and a lot more. So if we want to talk about what that government has done in the area of education, it will take me more than 24 hours explaining a lot of things that have happened at that time. But I was not invited here to talk about what the government that passed did in the area of education. So I would rather concentrate about what the government of Kano State now, under His Excellency Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, is doing to enhance and improve the living standard of education of Kano people, that we can be able to make it a role model for all other states around the Northwest, around northern Nigeria, and in Nigeria particularly, so that it can become a role model that every other state will want to copy. So thank you so much, Reverend Dominic, for your question. Maybe one day we can meet again on this platform, and then we can be able to talk about what the former government did. Thank you.
Okay. Honorable Jamo Yusuf OON, grievous charges there. We'll leave it at that. Mazi Okoroafo, calling in from Arochukwu. Good morning to you, sir, and thank you for holding on.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, I guess. Mazi Okoroafo from Arochukwu. You see, when we talk about out of school, I start laughing out of school. We are giving UNESCO and the rest, that's 25, It's wrong. What we have is currently over 45 million Nigerian children out of school. Now, how do we tackle this? One, parents will call their code according to their size. Stop depending on government. Look at your income and decide within you, Madam and Oga, how many children can you afford to cater for, either one or two. Not to depend on it, because 90%, so between 80 to 90% of Nigeria depends on government. That is why you see all these things that we see happen every day. See many talking right now as we are talking now, right now. Send any reporter to go down all the 36 states to see how many children that are hawking, which is not healthy for our development. Now, we should try as much as possible the educational system we are giving these children to be skilled, acquired, not go into the school, carry, go, collect certificate, and disappear. No. If a child from that basic education, that's from primary to just 3, before he or she leaves school, he has acquired one particular skill. I bet it will help our system to move forward. But this issue of collect certificate and disappear doesn't make sense. Now look at Nigerian university students when they finish NYSC, see many of them. You are not supposed to look for a job. Every day we give a statistics report of Singapore, Malaysia, America. No. We should come back home. We have all it takes to move our educational system. That is to say, our school system, if we want to we make sure that we have qualified people to be our administrators to manage our school system, not to bring anybody from just come and sit down and listen. No. If we continue doing that, we are not going to do it. There are a lot of skills. Look at the Center for Management, look at ITF, and go there, they have different types of skills. The same thing has to be into our own curriculum. So when a child is school, that basic is when we talk about university, he or she will be independent. I hate to see children still depending on their mother, begging for scrap. Your mother or father will give you car. You start reading about it. You treat that every month. Say, mommy, mom. No. You show mom, dad, you should say bye-bye to that. Let the child be skilled, acquired. That's from the primary. Good morning.
Good morning, Mazi Okorafo, and thank you for calling in. Honorable Mohammed, back to your last sort of rejoinder to, the caller, Reverend Dominic. There are quite a number of things in there. We didn't have the other side, but none of the things that you enumerated could have been said to have been helpful in terms of advancing the cause of education in Kano State. In fact, they're so grievous that it boggles the mind, the way you stated it, that look, if what is a public trust is actually, as you said, been carved up and, passed on to private interests, that boggles the mind, quite frankly. But as I said, we didn't have the other people, the people who served in that administration that might have given some clarity as to, because as I said, it boggles the mind. Were alternatives provided somewhere? Because everybody knows that we've had this problem for a long-standing period. So you can't take what is available and not make any alternatives. But as I said, we just didn't have the other side. And if there is any, if there's a wish for the other people who served in that administration to make any clarifying statements, we'd be more than happy to take them on and hear from them. We have someone else on the who else do we have who wants to come in?
Hello?
Good morning, Mr. George. Good morning,
Yes.
Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yeri.
Sure.
Uncle Yeri, please permit me to continue from where Reverend Dominic stopped.
Sure.
The events in Kano is a bit worrisome. The people of any state or any constituency are only interested in governance, not necessarily who is providing the governance. There is need for continuity. The current state governor came in and started demolishing all the structures of the previous governor. Those structures were not meant for the governor, for the previous governor as a person, but for the Kano people. And he says he's not interested, the spokesperson of the governor here is saying he's not interested in talking about what the previous government did, but only what the current. Is it not government of Kano people and for Kano state? Continuity should not be discarded. If you are a governor and you don't want to have anything to do with your predecessor's work, you are also bound to fail, because tomorrow another government will come and do the same thing to what you have provided. And if that is done, it is the people that will suffer at the end of the day. Let us be tolerant. Even the NNPP government in Kano, within a few months, the leader of the party, the Kwankwanso that the spokesperson is talking about, the governor is not in good terms with him. All these things can affect governors and the people of Kano State. There should be tolerance in the interest of progress and development of the state.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling in. But if I understood our guest properly, he can speak for himself. He had said he didn't want to take it into a political arena. He wanted to sort of limit himself to educational matters, such as they are now. But to go in there, he indicated that we didn't have even the time to hear him, and that he didn't want it to degenerate into a political sort of a brickbat. But as I said, you can speak for yourself, Honorable Muhammad Jamo Yusuf.
Thank you so much. I do not really get the name of the last person that called, but the man
George.
from
George in Lagos.
Okay. So let me talk. He made a very interesting point, because he said he's taken over from what the Reverend said. Okay, it's not like we are shying or I'm shying away from talking about what the other administration did. And I quite agree that government is a continuity, that in Nigeria from 1960 till date, if we have been able to have had government that we're able to continue from where former government stops, that is a very good thing to always continue, because not continuing what another government started is what has left us in around the country now with a lot of white elephant projects that have been started and were not ably completed. But let me tell you one thing. He made mention of when the current governor came, he did nothing but just went ahead and went into the area of demolition things in Kano State. Okay, let me just in a very short while give him a little response to that. The governor did not just come to demolish things in the state. During the campaign processes, the governor made it clear that when he comes into office, if Kano people agree to vote for him into office, he is going to right the wrongs in the area of distortion of the Kano State Master Plan that has taken place. And one of that, I have already mentioned it, the Kano State University of Science and Technology, which was an existing university with more than 1,500 students in that campus, and their lecturers and the non-academic staffs, they were there enjoying their lectures, going home. It was easier. It was within the city metropolitan with a very cheap amount of money. They can come to study and then go back. But the previous administration, when they came in, they demolished the university and they gave it out to build a shopping mall in that particular place. That shopping mall was what the governor came in and demolished and said he is reverting it back to a university. Tell me, if you are the governor, the distinguished gentleman that called, an institution of learning that today we are complaining about out of school children was demolished by a government, and then you decided to come back and say, no, I do not agree with the shopping mall. We are going to demolish this back and return it to a university. That was what the governor demolished. The other area of demolition that has happened was the College of Education, whereby within the four walls of the College of Education, the previous administration gave lands for individuals to come and build private houses within a college, within the Kano State Polytechnic. And the governor decided, no, that cannot happen. And he demolished it. That was why it was demolished. The other area was the Eid praying ground, a historical Eid praying ground, whereby for more than 500 years, that is where the Kano people used to go and worship. It's a holy, sacred place where we go to worship during the Salah festivities. And it is like a muster point because it is within, close to the densely populated Kano city. It's like a muster point in case of any disaster, which we do not pray for. That place can be a muster point where people can come and shelter. But what happened? The previous administration decided to convert the place into shopping malls. And that was part of what the government then, what the current government went to demolish and reverted it to what it was before. An Eid praying ground where people can come and pray, and equally to convert it back to our muster point. The other place that was demolished was the Kano City Wall, a historical place, which I can remember even UNESCO has termed the Kano City Wall a part of the World Heritages of Recognition. And I recall the German government invested a lot of money in Kano State to build part of the wall back. I have had instances whereby a lot of foreign visitors have come into Kano State. And the first thing they will ask you is, where is the Kano Wall? So this particular Kano Wall was what the previous administration went, demolished, gave lands to people to build on those places. Historical places. Where on earth can a place be termed by UNESCO as one of your heritage and then you will convert it to a shopping mall? That was part of what the state government went and said they will demolish. Why must we have shopping malls everywhere? Is it shopping malls that are the problems of Kano State? We have markets everywhere around Kano State. And market, the governor Abba Kabir Yusuf did not go to any market, existing market which was designated as a market, to demolish it. He did not go to anybody's house and say this is somebody's house and say he wants to demolish it. This is a school institution within an institution. Will you go and build a house in a college of education or a polytechnic? Will you go to where a university is and convert that university to a shopping mall? Is that the right thing to do? Will you go to a mosque or a church and say, no, bring it down and say you want to convert it to a shopping mall? Is that done so? Haba, okay. Come on.
Honorable Mohammed, I thank you very much. I guess this is what you were saying that you feared. You didn't want it to go into a political arena. You wanted to limit yourself to education. But since it was brought up, you have found yourself in a position where you've had to air your impressions in that regard. And as I said, there's nobody from the former administration here, but they probably are hearing this. And should they contact us, we'd be happy to hear from them against the backdrop of the things that you have explained and that you've had to do right, and also the criticisms that you have made as to what they might have been thinking in going that way, if indeed they were for the development and the educational development of Kano State. So we've used up all the time, but let me just register a special thanks to you, Honorable Mohammed Jamo Yusuf, OON, for coming on our program and sharing with us some of those aspirations of the incumbent administration to take on this question of education in Kano State and having over 1 million children out of school. Thank you very much for coming on our program.